Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Work With Me stream. I'm your host, Chris, the DeFi Professor. I just need to get the word out. Apparently I can't stream to Zora anymore. What the F, Zora? One second. Just got to get this out. Abstract has this new thing where you can only stream from a third party of some sort, so just got to do that. So this is the Work With Me stream. This is something that I do every Monday, generally around 2 p.m. Eastern. A little late today. Just need to get some food. Had a couple calls. And this is where I talk about putting together my newsletter that I do for my Beacon DeFi members. Beacon DeFi is our mastermind. And we put out insights and information every week. Interested in that? Let me know. I'll be honest, this is annoying that I have to do this. It is what it is though, right? I wish there was a way to just pick up that's linked to my Twitch or something like that, or my Twitter. It just knows when I go live. So that's really kind of what I'm looking for, if I'm being very honest. Anyway, hopefully I had a great weekend. A lot of things happened, right? This week, but to be fair, the market has recovered a bit. So let's go look at the market really quickly. Let me get to the correct. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Just going live on, at least just putting it out on Farcaster. Okay, so CoinMarketCap. Of course, I'm using CoinMarketCap because I'm approved creator on CoinMarketCap. So if you're looking for a spot to check out, please. I actually have been very fortunate. I have more than 1,000 followers already, just in my limited use. So if you're a content creator, you may want to consider going on CoinMarketCap. I don't think I have a. Do I have a? I might have a affiliate link for that. If I do, let me know if you're interested. I'll see if I can get you in. Otherwise, feel free to check out the platform. Really interesting way to get some good eyeballs on your on what you're doing. So, Bitcoin back at. Ooh, what is going on here, my little tacos? Okay. We've had some inflows this week, this morning. I mean, is it the war with Iran that's kind of, or the warlike actions on Iran that have caused this? I don't personally think so, but we have net inflows. There was a bit of a rise once it was reported that Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was assassinated. ETH back up above 2K is a good sign. XRP reclaiming the $1.40 level. Do we see a move back up towards 150 or 175? We'll see. Solana back up close to that $90 level. In my opinion, this should be quite a bit higher, but there's going to be more news coming soon, I think, with regards to what's going on there. Doge hanging around just under a dime, so that's good to see. And everyone's least favorite stablecoin, Cardano, is at 28 cents. Hype reclaiming the $30 and heading back up on a 7-day pull is good to see. Where are we at with Tau? Beloved Zcash is at 220. Tau is going to be at 187. That's actually a pretty good value by now, if you're asking me. Again, not financial advice, to your own research there. So let's look at the news, which is what we normally do here. Can't believe it's already March, guys. Already March. Let's make this larger. There we go. Wow. Fold paid off 66 million in debt to free up BTC collateral. This is interesting because Fold is the company that is paying the bonuses for employees at Steak and Shake. So good for them. Good for them. Paradigm raising 1.5 billion for expanded AI robotics investment fund. I will say, and shout out to everybody who was at ETH Denver. I didn't get to see nearly as many people as I wanted to. So if you're in Denver and we didn't catch up, please feel free to reach out. DMs are open. Would love to talk about content creation, education, onboarding Web3. Let me know. But I did see there was a couple of booths that talked about robotics. And I do think there is something to potentially a crypto and robotics future. Like there's AI and crypto are a marriage made in heaven, right? Especially now with agents and X402, is it 8804 or 8004 with the identity for agents. These are all good things that are laid in place. As things move to robotics as a little bit more of a physical form for what some of these agents will be doing. Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of movement on this in the next 18 months. So we're going to see some players coming to the forefront, and it's all about, how agents and can interact with robotics. Again, it's a little bit like prediction markets. There's definitely some overlap there, but it's not necessarily crypto. Didn't go live early because I just need to get some food, but let me just want to say, this pizza, this is the Detroit style pizza. As you all know, myself being older, there's only one club that I like to go to, and that is Costco. Sometimes Sam's. But this from Detroit Pizza Company, this double pepperoni pizza is fire, as the kids would say. It is good. Fantastic. And luckily for me, my kids are so picky, they don't like anything but cheese pizza. So that makes it really good for me because I can just rack up all the pepperoni that I want. And really, that's the important thing in life, right? Racking up things that you want. All right. Well, NASDAQ wants a piece of prediction market mania. Let's see this from Bankless. Shout out to RSA and David. Really? Oh, to list binary options tied to its flagship NASDAQ 100 stock index. Got it. Okay. I was about to say, I was like, they should have access to most of this thanks to the partnership between Polymarket and ICE. Not that ICE, the other ICE, Intercontinental Exchange, the umbrella mother company of the New York Stock Exchange. Aptos holders' proposal passes to hard cap the APT supply at 2.1 billion tokens. And that is such an AI logo. What are we doing here? Oh my God. You could have just taken 10 seconds to mask that out and just put something there. Oh my goodness. Oh, Defiant. What are we doing? That's terrible. Yikes. Yeah. Wow. All right, Aptos. I haven't looked at Aptos in a minute, but apparently it's at 79 cents. Remember when Aptos was $14 not that long ago? Yeah, broader crypto market rallies right now. We'll see exactly if we're bear trapping or if there is actual reporting. So according, May 1st came and gone. We don't have a Clarity Act decision. That in itself, I think is a little. I'm surprised that that we are at where we are at based on that, because I thought that was going to be something that had to go for some bigger rallying, but maybe war is good business here. Okay, let's see. St. Cloud Financial Credit Union rolls out core integrated digital asset platform for members. Interesting. Oh, nice. A digital asset vault. So if you're a credit union member, you get access to this. My guess is they're probably working with. Oh no, never mind. Deland. It's a name choice. Okay. I'm gonna save this just because it's something that is good for the. It's good for talking about the future of where things are going to be going, right? I just remembered we did not do this call last week because I was in the middle of getting my house in order. Like literally, like when I was gone in Denver, my wife called me frantic on the day before I was supposed to leave because in our dining room, our one of our three windows there on the it's like a bay window type deal. It's like a floor to ceiling like angled window. The one closest to the street just exploded. And when I mean exploded, like it's safety glass, thank goodness. But when you looked at it, I mean, it was just like webbing everywhere. I'm like, what happened? She's like, I have no idea. It happened. The girls heard it. My daughters heard it when they're up early. They just happened to be in the living room, and it just kind of happened. So, thankfully had somebody come out that day. Nobody even knew. I mean, even the guy from the glass company, because this isn't a window issue. This is a glass issue. So, window companies couldn't help me because they're like, we don't do glass. We just do windows. Like, okay. So I called a glass company, and when the first guy came over, and he's just like, yeah, I couldn't tell you how this. I mean, this is very strange because there's a two-pane window. The outside window, the one actually outside, fine. The inside window, shattered. Like just webbing starting to fall in. That thankfully it's safety glass. So, taped my wife and my mother-in-law taped up a bunch of garbage bags while I was gone. So that caught the majority of it. But man, talk about freaking out people. Anyway, that's why we didn't have the call last week. So I didn't really get to talk about some of the things I want to talk about, from Denver. Now that I think about it, I mean, there's a lot of things about Denver I hadn't really talked about. One is just seeing stuff like the St. Cloud FCU event. I was a part of multiple discussions at multiple side events where you saw a lot of money distributors, like people like Anchorage Digital, Paxos, a lot of people who are in the business of custodied assets for their clients, asking for things like this amongst a bunch of people in our industry who are good at putting vaults together on various um, platforms of blockchain. So we're going to see more of this as part of this 2026 integration of DeFi and TradFi to make TradFi and DeFi literally just become Fi. And this is something I've talked about in our content for years now, right? This is the future of finance. This is the future of how we're going to be doing business. This is all part of that. Starting off small, right? It's great to see that people are starting off small. Soon, and I think we're waiting for the Clarity Act, pardon me, to see more movement on this. We're going to see larger institutions, not just smaller regional places like St. Cloud Financial Credit Union, which I'm guessing is either Florida, St. Cloud. Yeah, just sorry, I was thinking St. Paul, St. Cloud. So that's what Kissimmee area, right? Kissimmee, St. Cloud. So that's going to be in Florida where that happens. So good to see. Hopefully, we'll see more groups considering using things like digital assets, especially now with the market prices being where they're at. Could you imagine if this came out 6, 7 months ago? When Bitcoin was 130K, and then people rolled in, then suddenly it goes down 58%. People are like freaking out. Crazy, right? Crypto world faces growing pressure to relent on stablecoin rewards to win bigger prize. I mean, this is an interesting subject. Mainly because it's true. If crypto wants a seat at the table with the rest of fintech coming over, they're going to need to figure out a way to not lose all of their shirts, just some of their shirts, to DeFi, right? The moment people know, and people are starting to know, right? We just saw the St. Cloud FCU thing. The moment people know that they either can access an institution that could get them actually better than 2% yield consistently in a safe and secure manner, the better. And I use 2% as a very conservative estimate, right? Not everyone has 25K to put into a money market fund or a margin account, nor do they want to take the time to do that, right? They're looking for like a CDFI solution, right? A centralized DeFi position where they can just put their money in there and then it just kind of goes through. Robinhood is building that, right? Kraken is building that. Coinbase is building that. They built that actually. The more people know about this, the more it puts pressure on banks to retaliate with something better. So the idea that they're upset about the yield portion, because unfortunately, well, timing wise, the Coinbase kerfluffle has caused this to go south. Regardless of what they say, yes, they want a better deal for crypto, but it gave the big institutions time to think about it. And once they did that, now they're like, well, now we want to redo the Genius Act too. And then now everybody's like, well, what's going on now? I am a little worried that this Clarity Act is not going to make it, because April 1st is now the next deadline. April 3rd, I think, is exactly what they. It was a nominal deadline given on an interview. I don't think, unless something changes, and believe me, I don't think they're going to get any closer now, because the banks are actually, now they know, and that was the issue. They probably weren't thinking about it, but now that they know, now they're doing everything to maintain their hold on their customers. And I get it, it's business, right? Granted, in the banking industry, there's a very few amount that profit from that, right? Certainly isn't us as depositors. We don't make shit for putting our money in a checking account. In a savings account, sure. Tell me how good your savings account is, and I'll go there. Because I get way, way better deals in DeFi. But I know that. Most people out there don't know that. Most people aren't willing to, stop and learn about it. We need to change that. Help me change that. We will. And if it's the stablecoin rewards, I mean, I honestly think it's kind of a strange, because the idea is like they're fine with it as long as you're doing an action, right? If you have stablecoins and you're staking them in the system, you can earn 4.5%. Now, let me give you this example, and it probably maybe kind of puts a little bit more color into the context. So I use my Coinbase Visa for a lot of things, right? Right here. It's in my digital wallet that I can pay with at the grocery store, check into hotels, all that type of stuff. Supposedly I'm earning 4% on that just by holding it in Coinbase. I'm earning 4% on what I have there. Crypto.com had something very similar with their crypto cards, right? Now we now have credit cards like from Gemini, from Coinbase, and some others that actually give you 4% back in various things. But those are credit cards. Jupiter, same thing, right? One thing I did want to highlight, I did spend some time. I need to get that content out. That's a good reminder. Exodus had a really great activation for Exodus Pay, and was a good time. Was able to sit down with the team at a lovely, I think it was Procession Coffee. Anyway, shout out to them. They had a great event. And one thing that they have, Exodus is a long-standing wallet, right? But now they have this pay app that actually has a well, no, I can't get verified. Anyway, technical issues on that, but you do get a virtual Visa debit card that connects to your Access Pay account, and you can load it from a bank account. You can load it from Google Pay, from Apple Pay, and also through PayPal. All great. Having multiple ramps to come on is important. You earn while your money is sitting in that wallet. It's I think it's roughly about 3%. The USDC portion of it is actually on Solana, which is fantastic. So um, we're going to see more of this. Now, that's a DeFi thing, as opposed to it's on blockchains as opposed to Coinbase's, which is on their platform. I mean, I'm more apt to use this now than my Coinbase card, if I may be honest. If they're not going, not that they have to give me up to 4% for just having my USDC there. If I'm being very frank, more of these smaller wallets, like from Exodus Pay, from Axel, and Cipher, and MetaMask, and a bunch of other providers, providing mobile first, easy to top up type of app options is going to be huge for this industry, uh, and really just kind of gives a big middle finger to Coinbase, if I'm being very honest. Uh, so is it that big of an issue? Honestly, it kind of depends. Coinbase is still, I think they've been given their conditional license by the OCC to be a national bank and trust. If that's the case, it's kind of a moot point, right? At least to me. I mean, maybe it's not. Maybe they still want to be able to give rewards to people who hold stable coins, without staking it on the platform, and that's fine. Uh, Good luck, and we'll see exactly where this kind of goes from there, right? Okay. ProCap boosting their holdings to narrow their NAV discount. I mean, that's an issue right now, right? With all of the crypto datcos. Tom Lee continuing to buy. Not shocking. What's funny is that we talked about this a month ago, where they put 200 million into Beast Financial or Beast Industries, right, to do some type of just financial awareness to younger people, and that's how they acquired Step, the app, not Step Finance, to really work on getting younger people into understanding about financial literacy, right? Not necessarily with digital assets, but Tom Lee pumping 200 million into them gives the idea that they steer these people to Ethereum, and they have come out and said, both Jimmy Donaldson and Jeff Hasenbolt, from Beast Financial, have said we're big fans of Ethereum. Yeah, I would think so. You just got paid 200 million to say that. Now, believing it's a different story, but there's a lot of people who are fans of Ethereum anyway, right? So we're talking about, um, well, we're talking about Swift. We're talking about a ton of different groups that are trying to get smart contract deals out on Ethereum. Okay, let's see. Nexo is back in the US. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. I personally haven't used Nexo. I know there are people in our community that have Nexo that have used Nexo loans because you could borrow against like your BTC and ETH at Nexo and even get yield on things like XRP and some other assets because you're just providing liquidity for either dark pool activity or whatever out they're putting your money into uh, for that. Turkey's ruling party unveils a 10% crypto income tax proposal. Is that good or bad? Well, not sure. So this is a big piece of news right here. And again, this is all about security, right? For whatever reason, I forgot exactly how it happened. But well, let's read the article. Within seconds. First off, why are you taking photos of wallet seed phrases? Why? Anyone that's security conscious with good OPSEC knows you never take a photo of your seed phrase. They then lost 4.8 million in crypto within seconds. If you give up your seed phrase in any manner, kiss that goodbye. You're not getting it back. People are like, well, won't someone just be a good person and send it back? No. No. You have violated the cardinal rule of doing something like that. Authorities have asked police to recover the stolen funds and pledge. Yeah, you're not getting that money back, guys, unless it was a white hat that feels bad for you. Yeah, you take a photo and you expose that photo. I mean, they found out how quickly that happens. Guys, what is this? They lost 22 BTC after leaving the funds in seed phrase with a third-party custodian. See, we call that bad friends. If someone told you that was a good idea, they're a bad friend. Yeah, that's not good. All right. All right, so the Aave thing. This is messy. This is real messy. And this is a tough spot for DAOs, if I'm being honest. Frankly, a lot of people that I know don't like DAOs. There are great DAOs that are out there, but this is going to test the mettle of how effective DAOs are going to be moving forward, right? Now we have states like Wyoming that have the DUNA laws for a digital unclassified. I forgot what the N stands for, or maybe it's decentralized. Decentralized. Basically, they're DAOs that have legal standing in Wyoming. It's going to be tough for them. I don't know if there's a good answer to any of this. Frankly, with Labs, with Stany Kulichov and his team, they want to be able to provide what they want to build, right? The DAO is there specifically for the governance piece. This is the reason why people like DAOs, because it's the whole idea. If I have $1 in shares, if you've watched Big Daddy with Adam Sandler, then you have a voice. That is also the case in a DAO, right? You own a little bit of token, you have a voice. Granted, DAOs are nothing but plutocracies, let's be honest. The people with the most tokens have the most say. But sometimes that works for the greater good. Sometimes it doesn't. This brings Aave Labs closer to a fully token-centric model, directing 100% of product revenue to the Aave token. Now, They have also lost a very large uh, builder, more than one. GDB and is it GDB and another delegate that are going to be leaving the ecosystem because they don't believe that Labs has done enough to really support what they want to build. But we'll see. Um, it's kind of like a microcosm, like an environment, right? So if you have like Coinbase, for example, do they answer to you as a customer? No, they answer to shareholders, right? Because they're a publicly traded company. They're going to do what's best for shareholder return because that's what keeps them in business. Let's be fair. That happens with all businesses that are publicly traded. DAOs are somewhat similar. It's a very far stretch. But the idea that they're going to be building for the benefit of Aave token holders. I mean, I'm bullish on that idea as a I don't have a huge bag of Aave anymore, but I did back in 2021 when Aave was what, $900 per token. We'll see how this all plays out. This is a very important time for Aave. Aave is frankly one of the most important dApps in all of DeFi. They're one of the lindiest. They've been around forever. If something happens to Aave, that is not good for DeFi, right? Something bad happens to Aave. Want to make sure that everything works out well. Ah, yes. I forgot that ProCap is from Anthony Pompliano. So we got 1 billion in inflows now after a slump, which is good to see. This was big news from the weekend, or sometime late last week. When was this? 27th? Yeah, so on Friday. So they've decided, and I misread this originally. So they have decided to shut down, well, not everything, I suppose. They want to specifically focus on both Dicey and just staying on Solana. Now, they're on Ethereum. Okay, that's everything then, right? Because I was thinking about Sui and a couple other blockchains that they're on. They're all technically EVM compatible. So that winds that down. Now, Magic Eden, with regards to being, never mind, I was thinking about Phantom. My bad. Why I equated Magic Eden and Phantom, I don't know. In any case, they're looking to just focus everything off of, Magic Eden also did ordinals and runes and alkanes, and now we're just going to go straight on just sitting in Solana. Frankly, it's probably a better move for them overall because they're going where the bread's buttered, right? iGaming with Dicey. Regardless of what you think about gaming in DeFi, I do think mobile gaming in DeFi still has a big future because being able to, look at how I was going to say, look how successful Telegram games are. You can't say that on paper, they look really successful, right? If we're talking about Hamster Combat and some of these others that are out there, Notcoin, and I could name 10 others, but I'm not going to. They got a lot of participation with the idea from the speculation that you'd be able to get lots of either airdrops or just something back, right? Maybe we're just in a phase of today's world where gamers want something in return besides their time invested into a game. Anytime you have the ability to gain profit passively by playing the game is something that people, that I'm sure many people would be very interested in. So this makes sense to me. They're just going to what is going to continue to make the money so they can stay afloat. Magic Eden is not the biggest NFT platform on Solana. That goes to Tensor. So anything they can do to kind of just focus and just lock in. Looks like, and they also had a wallet, right? Because Magic Eden had a very Magic Eden had a large TGE event last year. Was it last year or the year before? Regardless, wow, they got 15 million in wagers during the closed beta on Dicey. Okay, that kind of sealed the deal, right? As much as we don't want to see people putting all their eggs in one basket, they kind of felt the need after seeing 200 users wager 15 million in 60 days that this is the way. I mean, NFTs are not doing well. Let's be honest. I mean, this is very much their story. I mean, I have a different article for this, but I'll just go ahead and save this already. And interestingly enough, I'm not seeing a ton of news about Jane Street right now, which I thought would dominate the news today. But obviously war and things like that are a big part of that. Jupiter passed this this proposal that would freeze the supply and would also indefinitely postpone Cat Lumper. No more annual funded conference. That was sad to hear. I was excited to go to next year's Cat Lumper or wherever it's going to be. Let's see. Wow, dividend for STRC is now up to 11.5%. There's some other big news that was pretty interesting. Wow. US Iran bets 529 million. Now, we've been looking into prediction markets quite a bit, mainly because to most people prediction markets would not be considered crypto, right? Excuse me. It's just event outcomes. I don't know if most people know that prediction markets are blockchain based. If they did, would that change their mind? Would it make them a little bit more bullish on blockchain? I don't know. But seeing that a single event can get 520 million, good for them. I'm sure Kalshi has very similar numbers. Myriad, Opinion, Limitless, well, probably not, but they're seeing an uprise in numbers because of this, right? Prediction markets could be the next perp dex in terms of meta defining asset class. We'll see. Big markdown for miners. Marathon reports a 1.7 billion Q4 loss. Okay, we can talk about this. So, M0 is the real star of this, in my opinion. They've been working relentlessly behind the scenes to have Web 2 properties get a decentralized stablecoin platform. M0 has what, 4 stablecoins now? They have USDHL. They have usual. They've got a couple different ones. I'm sure I could look it up. But having PYUSDX to accelerate next-gen stablecoin development is quite interesting. Because it's also with MoonPay. So you have 2 on-rampers here that are going to allow PYUSDX to be used to have most likely Genius compliant stablecoins that can give rewards and stuff like that. Um, one second. Sorry, my wife was asking me a question. But this is, in a way, the gift that keeps on giving, especially from M0, because they have a platform that allows liquidity providers to come in and create their own stablecoin. This is a very important piece of infrastructure. And if you know me, you know that I've always been long on infrastructure plays. Um, this is good for everybody involved. So, curious to see where this goes from here. Um, this is a good sign. The stablecoin sandwich is dead. What does that mean? Oh, this is about Meta's. But why would you call it a stablecoin sandwich? I don't think that. Oh, okay. If large companies who use commodified stablecoins from multiple providers, the key question becomes who owns the distribution. Meta says that stablecoin plans are about enabling people and businesses to make payments on our platforms using their preferred method. So there is talks that they're courting multiple stablecoin providers. Tether is one of them. Now they've had the DM stablecoin before, right? Project Libra. That was supposed to be, in a lot of ways, the thing, and that didn't quite work out. What's different now, says Catalini, is that stablecoins are fading into the background, offered by multiple providers, becoming part of the payments infrastructure. That is correct. Yeah, we're gonna. The problem here is what do you do when there's like 15 different stablecoins you can pay with? Which one do you believe becomes the best one to use? Centralized providers, it's kind of going to be a given. So USDC, USDT, and any other, you know, if you want to say that RWA stablecoins are centralized because they're pegged to US T-bills, you can say that, right? There's only one. There's only a couple of issuers that can do that, um, or even, possibly things with, let's say commodities like energy, um, even things like rice, wheat, chicken, multiple ways to tokenize commodities. They're gonna stable real estate, right? That's those all have always been targets for stablecoin backing. Um, and in general, most of these are U.S. dollar backed or U.S. dollar pegged, right? At what point does may possibly even like that won't happen, but the British pound or the euro? There are stable coins for the euro. There are stable coins for the Korean won, uh, for the Chinese yuan, for even things like the Indonesian rupiah. That's on base. A couple other places. Japanese yen. There's quite a few of those as well. Singaporean dollar also has some. Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how it all just kind of shakes out. We unfortunately are still in the experimentation phase, even though this is the integration phase. So, figuring out what's going to be the future will be difficult. Really, I didn't know this. Patrick Collison, who is one of the co-founders of Stripe, is on Meta's board of directors. Well, well, that kind of narrows down the scope there. I had no idea he had joined the board of directors a year ago. Well, then of course that means that Bridge, whatever Bridge is going to be using or whatever they have, will most likely be the stable coin that they're going to run with. Um, but that doesn't mean they haven't talked to Tether. Why wouldn't you talk to Tether? With Tether being, you know, at least almost still, I think, still 70% of the market in stable coins. And they're not Genius compliant, unfortunately, but they do have an American version, USAT, that is. So, hmm, 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 hmm. And yeah, Meta mentioned that they're going to go stable coins in the second half of the year. So we'll see exactly where this is going to run. This is what I'm definitely going to keep my eye on, because adoption and distribution are the two biggest priorities for DeFi right now. How can they get more people to use DeFi? How can they get distribution awareness? Things that I am personally invested in, right? And yeah, it's going to be all about the user relationship. I don't expect people who are going to be paying for goods on Instagram with stablecoins to know the difference between USDC and USDT. Why should they, right? This will be a very interesting experiment. I don't know why people are shocked by this. I know that I saw this. I'm like, okay, it's no different than people, mysterious whales who profited off of all kinds of policy decisions from the administration before they happened, right? Like, who magically gets the alpha to put it in shorts right before President Trump goes live on Truth Social or wherever he's speaking from? Like the Maduro thing. Same thing on Polymarket, right? Buying Bitcoin, hold for at least 3 years to avoid losses. Now, if you have time and you haven't had a chance to check out my Friday stream, which is called Beat the Banks, I talked a lot about the all-weather portfolio and the value of holding assets long term. Uh, I know many people that have purchased Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, ADA, Link, XRP that plan to hold them for at least a decade. They have no they have no desire to put those assets to work. And I get it. I think it's important that you do put a little bit of your bag to work if you can, because you're going to have patterns where you can continue to passively earn income on your digital assets. I think that's an important strategy to put together. Um, I mean, is there going to be a rise back in Bitcoin back up to 250,000? Yeah, of course. I believe that. Will it be this year? Hard to say. Could happen in the next 3 years. Yeah, I still think that that's on the table. I still think $500 to $1,000 Solana is still on the table. 5K ETH. There's a variety of things. It all depends on the appetite that people have for digital assets and DeFi and overall, and it's going to happen. There's been too much infrastructure migration for it not to happen, in my opinion. There'd have to be a very interesting pivot. And there's enough people in this space that have enough knowledge and enough relationships with multiple world administrations that it probably doesn't uh, work to their disadvantage, I guess. Oh, funding rates are plunging to a 3-month low. Oh, that's well, well, well. Oh, U.S. oil on Hyperliquid. If you're using markets.xyz, that's a play. That is the beauty of perps, right? You don't have to own the asset. You're just playing with the exposure of the asset. Obviously, it's no different than ETFs and whatnot, but you don't have to go through some type of brokerage. You have access to it with your own self-custodied wallet on a perpdex platform like Hyperliquid with markets.xyz, which is a very good website, very good market that uses Hyperliquid Core, thanks to their HIP-3 um, feature. HIP-4 is coming soon, and I think HIP-6 was just brought out as well, which I honestly don't remember what it was, but also probably, also in my opinion, based on what I saw about it, pretty important for Hyperliquid overall. Morgan Stanley is going to work to get their charter shifted to a de novo bank trust charter, so they can actually do get more money off of doing crypto. We'll see exactly how this works out. And that's 2 days ago. So we're getting to something different here. Okay, Starkware. Oh, let me get this. Stark Zap brings crypto powers to any app. So this is very similar to what is available. I have to subscribe for that. I'm sure I'll find I can find something on Stark Zap. This is definitely Stark Zap's Blinks moment, right? Solana has Blinks, it's just a portmanteau of blockchain and links to bring blockchain actions to any Web2 app that's out there. This is very similar. You're just using Starkware, Starknet capabilities to provide that to any app, which is pretty cool. Now, Starknet has a distribution problem. They need more people to be using Starknet. This could be something that works in their favor. I do hope so, because I do like the stack with Cairo and when everything that's there at Starkware. They're famously back in 2024 Nashville, the first company to put together a zero knowledge proof on layer 1 Bitcoin. So could they continue more of this innovation to help bring more people? I sure hope so. I mean, there's a lot of good people there that have been working very hard on this. Okay. Oh no. Decontrol. DCTRL, however you want to describe it. That hackerspace closes down due to zoning issues. Eesh. A lot of people talked about Block slashing 40% of the workforce with AI efficiency. I mean, obviously, I don't want to see anybody lose their jobs, right? These companies will still need humans to oversee any type of robotics or any type of mechanical advantage that AI and other new narratives are going to bring into the system. It sucks. This is just the beginning. I mean, actually, it's been happening, right? Amazon's testing robotics and AI powered flows in their warehouses. Where does this push a lot of people, I guess, right? Right now, there's been a lot of layoffs since the end of November in this industry, in this space, since January. I'll be honest, I know a lot of people that I really like who came to Denver without a job, looking for a job. So it's very saturated out there. So it's going to be, cream rises to the top moment for working in this industry, and hopefully there's space for more people. But something tells me there isn't. So we shall see how this all works out. Okay, let's go to Google News. Nothing amazing here. So that's really all that I have. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What is this about? Okay, never mind. I thought this was going to be Justin Sun's reverse. Okay, this I don't need to see that. I'll have to look for that later on. But I don't think there's anything else to really talk about. So we're going to go ahead and shut it down for now. That was pretty much all the news that was available. And we talked a little bit about the most important parts. So um, right now, just continuing from a DeFi standpoint to keep doing what we do. And we are in a bearish environment, so taking taking leverage is a bad idea, in my opinion. Obviously, we've been farming stablecoins and mostly in stables for the last 6-7 months. That's what we talked about here in our communities. And having an all-weather portfolio is the most important part. Why? Because you can have a portfolio and a system that works well in any market condition. So do check out my socials in the event that you uh, haven't watched my Friday stream, which is called Beat the Banks, and you can learn more a little bit more about that. With that said, thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you on the next show. Which, if I don't do something tomorrow, because I'm thinking about doing the Tuesday stream for, we're going to call it office hours for the DeFi professor, I think. Um, then we'll see you Wednesday for another episode of our Beacon TVL podcast that we do every week. Looking to finalize some guests right now, and then we'll have a good show on Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern, on these same spots. Take care, guys. 07.